maybe 2 inches to shoot at, and he puts it on edge to get it in. What a shot!
That's mind-boggling. I mean, he was right on the goal line. I don't think he can believe it.
Phil Kessel stays hot. That was one of his 2 goals against Edmonton this week. Welcome back to LeafsTalk30, everybody. We got a special show for you today. We got a special guest in the house, our buddy Preet, a good friend of me and Brian's. So we'll have an extended version today. It's a special edition of LeafsTalk30. We talked last week how a half hour is never enough. So
yeah,
we're gonna go right over that today.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about, but first off, I'll let Preet introduce himself.
I just want to thank these guys for having me on the show. My name's Preet Singh. I go to University of Waterloo, economics major. I want to get my ums out of the way quickly so we can fill up that donation box.
That's right. A shot at the ums right away. I love it.
I also want to formally say that we should set up a swear jar because I might toss a few F-bombs out here.
Well, there's no problem with that, man. Because when you talk Leafs, I mean, sometimes it's impossible not to swear.
You get passionate, and sometimes that passion comes out in profanity.
If we had a swear jar last night, for instance, when I was watching the game, I probably would have owed about $100 if we were doing it 5 cents.
Easily.
For every swear word.
It was a frustrating game.
Well, I watched it with Brian. You could have watched the game on mute and the room would have been silent. So.
Oh man, just
the opposite game as well.
A brutal ending to a good week. Would you guys say?
Well, from what we discussed last week, we said if we could go 2-1, at West, we'd be happy with that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they had a convincing win against Edmonton. They pulled it out against Calgary and then had a stinker in Vancouver.
We actually said 1-1 would be like respectable. Yeah. So I think 2-1 kind of. I guess it would say we met our expectations. 2-1's respectable on the Western road trip.
I think for fans, in hindsight, you're looking at the fact that you didn't beat the Canucks. That was the issue. You would have rather lost or took that overtime loss. I'm not saying you would ever want that, but took that and beat the Canucks because really that's where we get the most stick. The Vancouver fans. I have a really good buddy out in Vancouver, and he was shooting me messages throughout that game. And it was frustrating, really frustrating, just because last night the wheels were not turning.
Yeah. So, you know what? It's the Western Road. We're going to kind of start with our game thoughts like we do every week. But I guess since it was the Western Road trip, we can kind of just merge pull them all together and just take what we got from all these games. And I know, like for me, and I know you tweeted this last night on our Twitter account, it almost felt like 2-1 wasn't the story coming out of this Western Road trip, considering what happened to David Bolland last night.
Yeah, it's a tough loss. I mean, especially him being in his contract year. He's playing in Toronto. He got off to a great start, and then we lose him for who knows how long, right?
And also the fact that he's a center, and one of our other centers, Tyler Bozak, is currently on the long-term injury reserve.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to be a true test for Toronto in the weeks to come, with 2 key guys out of the lineup, especially in the center of the ice. I mean, who are we going to replace him with?
Joe Colburn.
Wait,
he's in Calgary.
Joe Colburn's in Calgary.
Yeah.
Oh my God! You know what? Just this is a little off topic, but did he not look better?
He
actually looked.
Let's be honest. Every ex-Leaf looks better.
That's so
against
true.
The Leafs.
You know what?
There's no
100% because when he played against Calgary, it's like he looked like a star. He didn't look like a star, but he looked better than he did in any game he ever played in Toronto. But is that just like is that just the classic trend of
I mean,
ex-Leafs stepping up to the plate?
Partially, I think you always want to play better against your last team. But to be honest, you're going in. He's playing second line there versus the fourth line.
That's true.
Here.
You're getting more minutes.
That's a lot more minutes. When you're playing over 20 minutes against a team that really just threw you out, kind of, you're going to come out and really have all guns blazing.
100%.
It was nice to pick up the win against him and not have to say, oh man, another one of our own guys beat us.
I know.
So,
well, how many times has that happened? Mike Koska beat us this year.
Matt Stajan scored it too.
Matt Stajan. Of course, Matt Stajan would get a goal against the Leafs. It's only fitting.
Yeah. But, I mean, I think overall it was a great week, but it leaves that sour taste in your mouth because we don't play till Friday now.
It does.
Just the way that last game turned out, it was just, they came out flat, they played horrible, and it's just,
With Bolland's injury, though, I think this is going to be a true test for the Leafs. Who will step up now? I mean, there's a lot of guys in that locker room who can step up, but who will step up now? I'm throwing Clarkson's name up there as a guy who's going to have to step up with these injuries coming through.
But you guys are talking about stepping up in the dressing room.
I'm talking stepping up on the ice too. But I mean, Bolland brings.
Clarkson's not going to step into the center of the ice.
I'm not talking center ice. I'm talking stats. Who's gonna get some? Like Bolland's got like 3 big time goals this year. Game winners against Philly, against Edmonton. Who's gonna get? He's been a role player. Who's gonna fill that role? Is what I'm saying. Not necessarily the center of the ice. Who's gonna fill that role?
It's not so easy to fill that role because he's on your PK. He's on your PP. You can't just toss any old Joe in there.
Exactly.
Joe Colburn.
Back to Joey.
Back to Joe Colburn.
You can't toss him in there, right? So,
but I just think that this stretch is where we're going to see who the Leafs really are, what they're really made of, because they're going to have to get guys like, Kuhlman, who hasn't played a lot this year, to step up and be a bit of a role player, maybe get a goal or two. We're going to need Clarkson to step up, because to be honest, I haven't been that impressed with him in his first 5 games as a Leaf.
You were pretty impressed 3 games in.
2 games in, because that's 2. Yeah, that's 2 games. But I got to tell you, I mean, he hasn't done much.
Because the truth of the matter is, the overblown expectations from fans. Brian and I have gone back and forth on this. 30 goals, 40 goals. What was it? What is the number you keep tossing at me? He had for New Jersey.
He had 30.
30 goals. Yeah.
I understand he's not going to get that this year, but
No, he's not. I don't think he's going to get 30. He might.
He's not going to get 20.
you don't think he's
not going to get 20 goals. No.
But
You're 12 games in? More?
yeah.
12 games in, right?
Clarkson's only what?
No, 15 games in now.
Yeah, 15.
Yeah,
But Clarkson's
sorry,
only
15 games
Clarkson's
in,
only
yeah.
5 games in. I think.
That's right. But I'm saying, unless he plays left wing, right wing, whatever it is, he plays wing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
who are you going to move him up for? You're not going to put him on the first line
No, you can't touch the first line is set in stone right now. You're not touching that line.
until Bozak comes back. And
Arguably, you can't even touch it when Bozak comes back the way they're playing right now.
But the way it's going to go is that he's going to jump right back in and Kadri's going to get pulled out.
I hope not, because you know what? I really like Kadri in that center position.
He's not a number 1 center.
No,
but he could build to be.
Yeah, he's just
More so than
he's just
Bozak.
more skilled to play with the guys who are more skilled in his line, like Kessel and JVR. You know what I mean?
But he can't back check like Bozak.
Yeah, no, I agree. But the reason I throw Clarkson's name out there is because
You paid him that money.
Well, yeah, you paid him
That's
that money,
why.
and look what Bolland did when Clarkson was out of the lineup in that when he's in his suspensions. All great teams, and I think we can agree on, and me and Brian have been agreeing on this for the past couple of weeks, is the Leafs are a great team, and every great team can overcome these kind of injuries.
What makes you guys say that they're a great team?
They're the most. This is the most
On
depth-
paper?
On paper, this is the
So
most. Depth
they're a great team on paper.
on paper. This is a deep.
All right.
This is the most deep team they've had in years. Since they've had.
But
like you said,
you're already questioning their depth at center.
depth at center is different than depth within the organization. I would argue. You know what I mean? Like
Here's the thing. I think Carlisle will have to make something happen where he throws, say, JVR to the center position for the next few months until maybe he can address that position.
So
That's a good point.
gonna arguably take out the dynamic duo that you guys were talking about last week and split them up.
I hope you know what the dynamic duo. I wouldn't split them up because technically you don't have to split them up because JVR could play center and Kessel could play on the wing.
Then you were gonna have Clarkson come up, aren't you?
I don't know, man.
Well,
See, the way I have it now is I don't want to touch that first line is playing too good that I'm not touching that at all. I don't care if Bozak comes up right now. Bozak can play the second or third line right now.
Clarkson's finally getting power play time though as of Saturday night. So
Yeah.
I'm curious to see with some opportunity what he can do on that power play.
Power play time for the Leafs and power play time for most teams, or actually for the majority of teams, the first line power play, you're going to get the majority of the time, maybe a minute and a half.
Yeah.
Over a minute at least.
Yeah.
That second line comes out and just winds it down near the end.
Yeah.
So you're going to tell me that that's what you're going to rely on. Now you're going to tell me in a week from now that Clarkson got all this PPG time when really it was the time when they've dumped it down the ice and you got to take 10 seconds to come back up.
Okay, so Bolland.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
No, I completely agree with that. But if you throw him on, say, the first power play unit, he's not playing on the second power play unit. Now he has at least, if it's a good power play, 1 minute in the offensive zone to show what he can do and bring that confidence level up, even if it's an assist,
Yep.
or even
Yeah.
if it's even if it's a nice play where he doesn't get a point.
But that's what Carlisle's got to do. Is he going to do that? He hasn't yet.
He's only playing 15 minutes a game. I think Clarkson has to play 20 minutes a game at least,
Well,
between 18 and 20.
He's gonna have to play 20 minutes a game now with the injuries.
Yeah.
He's gonna have to play 20 minutes a game.
So we'll see that where that
Is there an update on Joffrey? Is he still day to day?
Oh, is he injured from last night's shot? We talked about the shot last night hurt him.
I don't
on the
know.
hand?
I haven't seen anything online, but
He still played the rest of the game, but I could swear I thought his wrist was broken after he took that shot off from Phaneuf. But
I thought it hit the other guy in the face.
so we can all agree that this team, like, it doesn't have to be Clarkson. It could be anyone, but as a team, they're gonna have to step up.
I'm gonna, if I had to throw a name out, I'm gonna have to say that Nikolai Kuhlman is gonna have to come back and really pick up the pace. Not last year, but the year before.
He did look kind of lost last night, but I mean, you can't go from playing 3 games of the season being thrown in against Vancouver.
Yeah.
That's a tough thing to ask for. It's a tough environment to play in. They're a good team. Let's face it.
Well, he even said himself he's not 100%. So I mean, say what you will, but I don't think he should have played last night. I think you give him that extra week and then to play Friday night against New Jersey, right?
Yeah.
Give him that extra week to practice, get back into game shape, and then play.
So since we're on this topic already, I want to Preet, Brian. I want to hear honest thoughts. David Clarkson through the first 5 games. I know it's only 5 games. What are your honest thoughts right now?
I don't think it's a big enough sample.
It's not a big enough sample. Okay, that's fair enough.
Nobody's asking your opinion on 5
But
games.
just your 5 games. What's your overall grade of David Clarkson through your first 5 games?
B-.
B-.
Maybe. I mean,
That's
he's
fair.
been average. He hasn't made any
that's fair.
glaring mistakes, but he hasn't made any incredible plays
Yes.
either. So
And I think sometimes in that situation, considering the amount he's making, what we signed him for, I mean, the B-, the offensive side is where we really expect to see him, shine.
Well, that's what you hope for.
Yeah, that's what we hope for. Yeah.
Honestly, for me, I'd give him a B because he's an average player.
You don't
playing average.
You don't sound like you're too high on Clarkson.
I'm not high because of the amount you paid him,
Yeah.
and I'm not high.
Yeah, I can just tell by the Tony versus you are not a Clarkson guy right now.
You know what? I think he's a good player.
Yeah.
I think he's a bigger Darcy Tucker.
Yeah,
He's got
that's exactly what we were saying.
a little bit more
Here,
genuine talent. I'm not.
Here's what concerns me though about David Clarkson, and it happened in the. He takes these penalties that he shouldn't take in a game.
I think that's him trying to just prove too much to the
yeah.
team. Hey, I'm a character
See,
guy.
I don't
I care
want-
about the team.
I understand that, but I don't want him to turn into like a Mike Komisarek, where he gets 20 minutes of penalties the first time he stepped on the ice against Montreal that one year.
Are you
in the
talking
home
about the
opener.
minors? Or?
No. Do you remember Mike Komisarek's first game as a Leaf against the Habs in Toronto? I think he got like 20 minutes of penalties minutes
You're
in
trying to
the
do too
first
much.
period. And that's what I feel Clarkson's trying to do.
I think that's the kind of player he is.
Trying to do too much.
No, just that's those. He's trying to be gritty, and sometimes that gets you in trouble.
I want him to be a bit more responsible when it comes to
Give him
his
time.
hitting.
Again, it's 5 games.
Yeah.
Give him till say the end of the month, and then we'll have a better understanding of what kind of player he is.
Fair enough. I'm not ripping Clarkson. Clarkson's a great player. He's going to be good for us. He might not get 30, 40 goals, but I just want to hear your guys' evaluation and thoughts on him through the first 5 games. And I think B- or B, I think in that range is fair.
Yeah. Before we move on, he's getting 25 goals. That's my prediction right there.
You think he's going to get 25 goals
He's
this year?
getting 25 goals.
18 goals.
18 goals? I'm going to go with a flat 20.
All right. That's
Flat
18,
20.
18, 20,
Yeah, so
25,
we're all in the same range.
If it's under 25, his price is right. You don't win.
So Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver. Played well against Edmonton, 4-0. Played well, decent against Calgary. But here's the issue: we're still getting outshot, and we're getting outshot bad.
Well, that Calgary game, I just want to say, playing back to back, that's usually in our past maybe 7 or 8 years. That's
Yeah.
a game we'll come out and lose because these guys have come out and either given it their all, or they've come out flat and they'll lose both. So
Yeah.
I mean,
I
that
would-
second game coming out, that was a big win.
I was impressed with Calgary because we haven't really done well there in the past years. So they get
The whole road trip.
The whole road trip in general. I mean, we just do well in Edmonton, but to beat Calgary, I really like that win. Bernier stole the show in that game. We're definitely going to get into that a little more
Yeah.
later in the show.
First,
I know this is Leafs talk. I just want to throw out there, any Oilers fans that are listening, you guys need to trade Yakupov or whoever else and get Ryan Miller over there.
Yeah,
I think it'll help.
Edmonton, you're a mess.
Because both those teams are a huge mess. I think Buffalo's pretty much writing it off, so you guys should try to scoop up Miller.
Brian's not a fan of their whole rebuild.
you think? Wait, hold on. Sorry. Again, I know this is Leafs talk. You think Ryan Miller on Edmonton will turn that ship around this year?
No, not at all. But I think that's a huge step because a goalie and then talented 6 forwards, young guys, core guys that you can easily build your team around.
I think, yeah.
It's much easier to bring in a couple veteran defensemen and really solid that team up.
We can put a spin on this in terms of talking Edmonton, talking Leafs, because Dallas Eakins is coaching the Edmonton Oilers. And right now,
huge mistake by the Leafs organization, by the way.
Letting
Yeah.
Dallas Eakins go. Look what he's doing in Edmonton with that
Huge.
talent. Look what he's
Huge.
doing in Edmonton with that talent.
That's not him. He's not out there on the ice. He can't.
you cannot blame
you
Dallas
can't-
Eakins for what's going
I
on. in
blame
Edmonton.
Dallas Eakins
I
almost
blame
entirely for
and the
for
Edmonton
that.
Oilers are.
Unless Dallas Eakins is the goalie, I don't know how he could be.
It's not only goaltending
Better
that's
suited.
Edmonton. Edmonton has no size. Not to mention they have no goalie. They have no size. All their forwards are just
Neither
above.
does Chicago.
Chicago has more grit than any player on any player on Edmonton.
And more skill, I think. But
Yeah.
did you not see when that Montreal Edmonton game when he called out Lars Eller after the game and said, if it wasn't, thanks to Lars Eller, he motivated our team to win. You're a head coach.
You should be
You don't need
motivated,
an opposing player to call your team out and call you a junior team in order to motivate your guys in the dressing
I
room.
get the
Hey,
impression.
that's if a guy had called the Leafs out that way, you'd want your coach to shoot that out to all your players because it does fire you up. That's your job as a coach. That helps you fire a team up. He used a motivational technique to his advantage.
I think
and you're
he-
going to tell me that just because it's Dallas Eakins?
If they were so motivated, they wouldn't have started
I
that game
think Dallas
down 2-0.
Eakins. I think Dallas Eakins is trying to be a bit of a stickler in Edmonton with the whole vegetables for the news conference
Sure,
and all
yeah,
that stuff. I don't think it's rubbing off too well within the organization, but you can't fire him because he is a good coach
Okay, well, again,
and he does do well with young players. I mean, look at the young players we got in the Leafs right now. All products of the Marlies, or a lot of them are.
yeah, on the Edmonton-Toronto side, I mean, they both started their rebuild arguably at the same time. Look who's...
Yeah, look-
99% of the people out there would take
Well, Leafs
Toronto
didn't
over
have-
Edmonton right now.
Yeah, and Edmonton have three first round
They're
picks.
looking to get another one this year, but... Anyway, the Leafs getting outshot. Can they keep this up?
No, man, they can't keep this up. This is brutal. You know why you can't keep this up? You can get 45 shots against Edmonton and Calgary, but you can't do it against Vancouver, and that's what happened last night. You let Vancouver have 45 shots, they're gonna beat you.
You also take 9 penalties, and all those shots are going to accumulate.
That's a different story.
But I'm saying that's where most of those shots come
the
from.
officiating last night was brutal. Absolutely ludicrous. It was brutal. Every call was against Vancouver. I realize now why Vancouver in the NHL are hated so much. You remember a few years ago when they were beating Boston, then in the playoffs last year against San Jose, saying they're fishing for calls. They do fish for calls, and they were getting every call last night. We had one power play.
I'll have to double check.
It's hard to get a power play when you're in the PK most of the time, right?
That's the thing, yeah.
Well,
There's-
and Toronto looked like they were headhunting for a bit last night.
Well, they were. And that's the thing. I mean, there are a few of those penalties, and there was, that hold at the end we were watching, when they could have got a 10th power play there.
The dirtiest play of the night was Cassian on Bolland.
That's not a dirty
That's
play.
a dirty
not
play.
A dirty play.
That is a dirty play because you're lifting your leg, your skate up, finishing that hit. That's a dirty play. It's almost the same situation with Cook on Carlson.
I don't think so because Cook brought this skate down on Carlson, and the way this happened with Cassian was that he went in and it hit him. I mean, I'm not going to go as far as PJ Stock and Kevin Weeks with that absolutely disgraceful re-impersonation. But
I hate PJ Stock.
yeah, really, that guy,
No offense, PJ, but
yeah, I guess. But I think I gotta agree with Brian on this one. That was a hockey play, and it was really unfortunate.
I don't see it as a hockey play. You gotta be more.
Wasn't there something after the game about the socks? Him not wearing the
Kevlar socks.
Kevlar socks.
Was he not wearing it? He
I-
must have not been if that happened.
Well, that's what I'm just wondering. I read a couple sources. One source saying that he wasn't, and one that he was, and there was a cut through it. So I'm not sure if it's another Leafs equipment, just a player being like, oh, you know what, I don't need them. Then
not wearing the proper.
that's on you. I mean,
That's twice now.
I still-
Bolland, right?
I still think that was a dirty hit because Cassian was headhunting a bit too last night.
no, I agree with you. He's a dirty player.
I hate Cassian.
I don't really like him.
It wasn't blatant, but the more I watch the replay, the more I can see that skate. It could
Well,
be.
you're
It could
looking
be a
for it.
free. Yeah,
You're
you're looking.
looking
Yeah,
for
you're
it.
looking for. As a
You're
Leaf fan, you're
looking
looking
for
for
it.
that. You're looking for. Bad luck. What are you gonna do? Those things happen in hockey. But the fact of the matter is, and the bigger issue is here, is the shots allowed on our goalie. Every game. I mean, I know, Brian, that you say it's the shots. It's where they shots come from.
This
But
isn't new. This isn't new, okay? We're going to go back to 2002, 2003 right now. I don't want to bore you with stats, but the Leafs getting outshot that year, their record was 31-15-4-2. Outshooting the other team, 11-9-3-0.
Who was the goalie?
Joseph.
Right.
Okay.
Let's go. Keep going.
All right, so we're going to go.
So you say we should continue the trend of getting outshot?
I'm not saying we're going to continue the
Let's
trend.
just keep with the stats.
Let's go last year as well. Leafs made the playoffs, getting outshot 21-10-5.
Yeah.
Outshooting the opposing team 5-7. The year before that, when they didn't make the playoffs, 24-19-4 outshooting the team.
But
10-17-5 getting out or outshooting the other team. So
fair enough.
It's for the past 5 years, it's been a common trend. They get more wins and they play better and have a better winning percentage when they get outshot.
Fair enough, but I am sick and tired of seeing the Leafs get outshot and outplayed sometimes. Because when they're getting outshot, they're getting outplayed.
And that's the difference, Anthony. I gotta agree with you. The big issue with it is the fact that if you're being outshot, that means the puck is in your zone.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I mean.
I'm not so concerned with the fact that you're outshot. That doesn't mean you're necessarily outplayed. Maybe 50% of the time, maybe 55, 60% of the time, guaranteed you're going to be outplayed because you're getting outshot by the amount they are.
Well, because against Calgary, we arguably had better chances.
Yeah, I agree with you. But my issue with this whole situation with them being outshot is the fact that the Leafs have been doing this consistently for years, and now we as fans are to believe what we're to expect it, because, and it comes back to the fact that 3 of our 6 defensemen could play forward. I mean, Gardner, Riley, and arguably Phaneuf at times. You know, if he's wants a pinch or whatever, you're gonna give up those odd man rushes, and we get them
And
the other
we
way.
did, and they do give up a lot of odd-man rushes. That's true.
Yeah.
And we use our speed to make it seem like it's equal, because we rush back the other way, and we luckily so far have been capitalizing.
But wouldn't you just for once like to turn on the TV, watch a Leaf game, and be stress-free when the puck's not in your zone? And
Impossible.
I know it's impossible, but I'm sick and tired of 45 shots.
It doesn't
Eventually, the great teams, those great teams that win the Cup every year, Chicago, Detroit, Boston, these are puck possession teams who are always in control of the game and can set the tone of a game. And I want the Leafs to try to build that model, but you can't do it when you're giving up all these odd man rushes and shots.
Yeah, the two quick points about this. I want to, because I knew we were going to talk about this. Last night, I saw a tweet following the game by a roommate of mine. I'm not going to throw him under the bus. He's a Red Wings fan. I'd like to, but he tweeted something along the lines of, the Leafs deserve to lose by being outshot that much. That line or that sentence itself, or saying something like that is ridiculous, because being outshot doesn't mean necessarily that you deserve to lose.
But I think what his point was is when you're getting outshot, you're playing with fire with a team like Vancouver.
I agree, but the correct thing to say is we were outplayed last night.
Oh, 100%.
We haven't been outplayed every time we've been outshot this year.
That's
but
true, and I'd argue that in Calgary and Edmonton.
That's right. My big problem with the whole situation, and why I think we can't sustain this and possibly keep the record or the rate we're going at, is the fact that when you come into a game and the first 9 minutes of a game, you don't have a single shot.
Yeah, that worries me.
That's not, you're being dominated.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much the other team asserting themselves as a team out of your league. If that means for 9 minutes you can't put a puck on the other goalie's net, and I know you can argue the fact that you want a good shot, but put anything on the net looks better than a duck.
Well, the Leafs in the end last night. I mean, I know the shots were 9-0, but by the end of the first period, the shots did even out. I think they were about 13-10. The Leafs did wake up, but they just got to start getting some better starts to games. Like, you know what I mean? They come out of the gate kind of slow, but you can't come out of the gate slow against Vancouver.
Yeah,
They're the type of team they'll eat you alive.
Again,
the goalies have been doing backflips to keep us in these games.
Shout out to Reimer's save last night.
Huge. So those three.
Save of the year.
That was insane.
Save of the year.
That was.
Yeah. Some of us were taking a nap, but they were huge saves.
Save of the year. That was insane. But see, it's stuff like that too. I mean, like, shouldn't a save like that pump up your team and rally the troops? Come on. They still had no shots for about 5-10 minutes after that save.
As a coach, what are you supposed to do to say, listen, guys, let's make sure the other team doesn't shoot the puck at our net?
That's not on the coach.
So who's it on? The players?
Yeah.
You know who it's on?
You don't have the talent to get down the ice?
You know who it's on, guys? I'm going to tell you who it's on. All these shots, it's Randy Carlyle. What's Phaneuf saying about all this stuff?
Oh my goodness.
Phaneuf's never said anything.
We want to sign a guy to a $50 million extension for 7 years when your team is you're the captain of the defense, the captain of the team, and your team's getting outshot every game, 50 shots, and you want to re-sign him for 7 years at $50 million. What has this guy done to prove
Stop.
he's worth that much?
Stop it.
What has he done?
Oh, hold on.
He's having a great year, but what has he done to earn that money in that 7 years and keep that C on that sweater? What has he done? They have made the playoffs in a 48-game season. That's it.
They're going to make the playoffs this year again.
I
He's
hope
going to
so.
prove that he's worth that money. You name me. Okay, let's say Phaneuf walks. He walks out of the Leafs organization. They don't want to re-sign him, or they trade him for who knows what. They're not going to trade him for another Phaneuf to replace those minutes. You don't sign him for, say, 7 years, $50 million. Who is going to take those minutes? He plays against the top line on every team every single night. He plays on the power play. He plays on the penalty kill. He plays in overtime. He plays in every single position possible that you would need a number one defender to play.
Agreed. But
what do you mean, what has he
why
done?
are we talking extension at this time of the year?
So
We
you
haven't made the
signed
playoff.
it-
We haven't made the playoffs yet. We're not guaranteed to make the playoffs yet. Like I said, if we're midway through the season, because we still got to go through December, and December is always the shit month for. Sorry for my language, pardon my French, but
I'm not.
December's that month where Toronto, always gets into trouble. Why are we talking Phaneuf 7 years right now?
Preet, hold on. Preet, please answer me this question, because I know you're in DiNardo's boat for the most part. It takes a long time to get a contract done usually, right?
Yeah.
So you start talking now. You may not agree this month. Next month you might come to a number. The month after you might come to a number. So start the contract negotiations now.
Why does it come?
Yeah.
Why does it become public? Who lets that out?
Nick Kyprios.
Well, don't get me wrong, guys.
Is
And then
he
did you hear
Phaneuf's agent?
did you hear what Phaneuf said though? He said, "This is a rumor to me. I've never heard of this." So they might that might be
Okay.
a bogus number.
But I don't want you guys.
Well, for the Leafs' sake, I'd hope so.
Oh
Yeah.
I would give Phaneuf 7.5.
Oh, 7.5. That number in his name just makes me go insane. Don't get me wrong. I like Phaneuf. He's having a good year. But I'm talking when it's your captain, and this my opinion might change if it wasn't the captain. When you're the captain of a team, your team has to be playing better.
They're
And-
top in the Eastern Conference. What else do you want?
But listen, they're not dominating games. I don't want my captain to go into a locker room and blare some music. I want my captain to say, guys,
I don't even think he does that. I'm pretty sure it's Bozy who.
Miley Cyrus.
Yeah.
we are playing good. We are playing good. But as a team, I would like us to be more defensively sound. That's where I think Phaneuf has to earn the paycheck, is getting his troops fired up for the game. Yes, they're winning games, but you can't constantly win games getting outshot like this. It's not going to work in the long run.
If I'm
I'm
gonna,
sorry.
What's your let's see. yours.
Brian, you're stuck in the 48 game mind right now. You gotta remember, this is 82 games.
Hold on, I want to hear what Preet says, and then I'm going to come at both of you
Okay.
and explain my point.
Okay.
Why don't you explain yours? Because I'm going to go off of it. I know your point, so I'm going to. But do you want me to go first? Because then you can just lead
He's
into
gonna
it.
go off.
The only question I'm gonna have to ask here is Dion Phaneuf a Norris candidate?
No.
Has
Absolutely
Norris,
not.
Has he ever been
Dion
a
Phaneuf's not
Norris,
even the talk to make Team Canada.
Norris candidate?
No.
The top played players in the East, I'm gonna just say two players that I know are it's definitely gotta be Chara.
Chara.
Carlson.
Brian Campbell's getting
Carlson.
7.142 and Carlson's getting 6.5.
Carlson, Chara, both Norris candidates.
100%.
Brian Campbell, a huge mistake by a mistake organization in the Florida Panthers.
Yeah.
That there's not much
He's
to
been
say
playing
about
all
that.
right there for
Sure, but
for Florida.
But he's not
It's Florida.
they tossed him money because he was supposed to quarterback that power play. The only thing is he's got no receivers.
Yeah.
Dion Phaneuf will earn this paycheck if he can play at a Norris caliber.
And right now he is.
He is not.
He is right now.
I can argue. I couldn't believe you to
Not okay. He's not playing at a Norris candidate, but he's playing at
as a number one defenseman.
as a number one
Sure.
defensive pairing.
But there is not a single other number one defenseman that makes more than $6
Dion
million.
Phaneuf cannot be a Norris candidate. He
Is
can't
that-
be.
is that wrong?
He can't be a Norris candidate.
Chemo Timonen 6.
Again,
Green.
Philadelphia Flyers mistake organization with their paychecks.
Mike Green just over 6.
He's a player that could be a Norris candidate.
But if you look at the guys
You're right.
if you look at the guys that win Norris trophies, they're good defensemen,
They
but
get
they're
points.
also good with the puck. Phaneuf's not good with the puck.
Well, if he
He's
could shoot
good.
it- if
He's
he
a
could
good
shoot it
shot.
on
He's a
net,
good shot.
He'd be all right.
He's good defensively. He's a strong body, but he's not good with the puck. You can't compare his puck handling to Carlson, to Drew Doughty. Those are the guys I'm going to throw $7 million at.
Okay, my whole thing is you let him walk. You don't replace that type of player. You don't replace those minutes. He does a lot for the team.
I agree, but you can get 2 players at that salary.
That's what I'm, and that's exactly what I would agree with.
If you look at some of the top teams, I mean the Eastern Conference top D-men, and you're looking at maybe $8 million for their top 2 guys.
Yes.
You're saying you could toss another $1 million in, and you could get the top pairing at another team.
$7 million, you can get 2 defensemen and a forward.
Okay, here's the top 7 defensemen that are free agents this year. Dan Boyle, he's 37. Kimmo Timonen's 38. Markov's 34. Yanni Pickenton's
Which
injured.
Markov? Andre?
Yeah. Kyle Quincy's, he's 28. Brooks Orpik and Girardi.
First of all, I don't want Andre Markov. He's a
Okay, so there's one. Those are your top defensive guys you're going to sign this year.
I'm
a Montreal
not, I'm not
Canadian.
saying that he shouldn't be a Leaf. That's not the argument here. I'm not saying we need to let him go
I
and
wanna
bring
keep
in
Phaneuf.
another guy.
What's a respectable number for Phaneuf?
5 years, $5 million.
So you're going to cut his paychecks $1.5 million from this year, even though the cap's going up? There's no way. He walks and gets
How many
7
times have you
somewhere
made the
else.
playoffs? How many series have you won?
You know what?
That's what I'm asking.
If you want to be the captain of this team, you gotta show heart. You gotta show that it's more than just the money. I'd say 5 years, 6.25.
Whatever happened to the hometown discount?
A hometown discount. Let's say he gets 7.5 on an open market.
He's got Cuthbert. That's the hometown discount. She's from here. We've given him everything. What has he given us?
Listen, as a
Popular
captain
mechanic
of
for
Toronto,
kids.
you're held
that
to
show.
as a captain of Toronto, you're held to a different standard than the captain of Florida, than the captain of the Islanders. That's the point here. Is Phaneuf really has to prove his worth in Toronto. So far, so good.
He's no Matt.
He's no Mats.
Well,
Who is Mats?
who's been-
Who you can't no one can
No, other
match
teams
up
have
to
got
Mats.
captains that I would trade for in a second.
I'm
if
saying
you
on
could
the
trade captain
Leafs-
for captain.
I'm saying the Leafs though right now, who is the Matt Sundin? Okay, let's say Phaneuf gets stripped of the captaincy. Who do you give it to? That's another question.
Lupo.
No, he doesn't play enough.
He's going to captain the press box with all his injuries and casts on. That's the only thing he's going to captain.
Listen, guys, but the figure you're talking about, 7 to 7.5 million, are guys that are in the Team Canada discussion, which Phaneuf isn't in.
Yes, he is. He went to the tryouts.
He's not
He
going
went to
to
the
make it,
orientation.
though. He's
You
not
never,
going to
you never
make
know.
it.
Don't say that till the team's made.
He'll make it. He'll make it.
Do you think Dion Phaneuf's going to be Team Canada?
Yeah, because it still draws in the Toronto market. Canada still, not that they need it, but it still looks good that you got a guy from Toronto, and that's the only guy you'll have.
Okay, so Phaneuf. I'm in favor of the extension, not of the amount. Brian is in favor of everything.
I give him 7 over 7. No problem.
You
You give him
you
over
know what?
7.
The thing
Let's
is,
be clear.
the
Let's
thing
not-
is, I see your point because he
I'd
has
love
just.
for the fans of the podcast
Brian's
to weigh
point-
in on this.
Brian's point is that Dion's value in Toronto is just as valuable as Drew Doughty's in LA. That's basically your point, or anybody.
Yeah.
And
Brian's point is whichever way Dion's dong is pointing.
and that's a fair point, Brian. But I just can't. I look at the big picture, and I look at the recent success in the past few years with Phaneuf as captain. I see a playoff made.
Lack
In
of
I see a
success.
playoff run
that he
in a 48-game season that we lost in the first round because he didn't box out Chara in the crease, and
Well, I don't know how many guys can box out Charlie Cruz. You got to cut him
Taves
down.
did. Taves did.
Again,
Kessel's got to come out with that axe that he brought out to John Scott and cut down
Hey,
Chara.
Kessel dropped the gloves last night. Props
Yeah.
Kessel. And
Yeah,
I
they
also,
fell off.
and so yeah, that's our Phaneuf talk for now. We're gonna that's another topic that we'll probably be discussing
oh yeah.
along.
Burrows is a rat. Just want to.
So we're just I hate Burrows. So we're 33 minutes. This is an extended version, so I think we do have time to talk about this. We might as well because we talk about it every week. Reimer Bernier.
I want to start this off with Preet's. We've talked about a
Okay,
museum.
well we're gonna
I
get
wanna-
Okay, I'm gonna ask Preet then.
I don't even get a break. I'm just pumping
It's
it
all
out there.
it's all you, buddy. Reimer Bernier, dynamic duo, or future conflict.
Future conflict. You gotta establish a number one. The problem is that you got two great goalies that play a completely different style. Bernier's he's really just a core, goaltender's goaltender. He plays the position well.
Yeah,
whereas Reimer is that athletic guy. He's gonna, draw the holy Mackinaws from Joe Bowen. He's the one
That's
who's
actually
gonna,
a really good point.
Who's gonna really get you fired up.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I know listening in last week, the conversation was that Reimer has done nothing to lose this job. I agree with that.
But you can argue that for both sides. You can argue that for Bernier. You can argue that for Reimer.
Well, it's difficult to argue
No
for
one had-
Bernier
no-
because Bernier's never played number
Yeah.
one. Where is he? Losing the job. You've given him the job.
But it's safe
He's
to-
taken somebody else's job.
It's safe to say that if you gave Bernier the number one, or if you anointed Reimer the number one, no one has played their way out of that number one role. They're just. It's pretty much a crapshoot till someone really screws up.
I agree, and I want to say that I've been a Reimer critic, just along with many people, in regards to rebound control. He's
That's-
done a better job this year,
Yeah, he has done a better job. He really worked on that.
but I still see times when a shot that should just be absorbed into him pop right out, and
Exactly.
maybe he gets cleared, or he's had some fortunate bounces this year. But I feel like you're going to see a few more of those rebound goals go in, and they're going to get under a few Leafs fans' skin. And then
Yeah.
you'll have a lot more calling for his head and wanting Bernier in that crease.
So what do you think, Brian?
Here's where Nonis really, screwed the pooch. He extended Bernier for a higher, contract right when he came in without playing a game for the Leafs.
Because Nonis has him as number one.
Yeah, and
You
that's
know
why
this
he
has
brought him
Bernier as
in.
number one?
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
why.
absolutely.
That's why he would give him more money the second he came in without playing a game. So now you're sort of forced to say, well, we're paying Bernier more, so we sort of have to play him. He shouldn't have got. He should have got the exact same amount as James Reimer when he came here, because they already traded for him.
I love this.
Extend him and give him the 2.9. I think it is what Reimer's getting. Give him that.
I love this hashtag dynamic duo. I
No,
love
it's-
it.
it's-
But
How many times has that ever? How has that ever worked?
I'm pretty sure everyone loved the hashtag dynamic duo in Vancouver until it became the biggest controversy. And if a goalie controversy can become a controversy in Vancouver, it can definitely become a controversy in Toronto.
I'm gonna have to argue that. I'm gonna have to say that real Canucks fans, real Canucks people knew that was going to be a controversy.
You think so?
Real reporters
Yeah, oh,
knew
yeah.
that there was going to be an
Absolutely.
issue with that. Us out here loved it because we saw, Strombone tweeting all the time about how him and
Yeah.
Schneider were getting along and all
Exactly,
that.
yeah.
So we over here loved it.
But here's the way I look at it. It could either be the dynamic duo, and they could complement each other, win games. Reimer wins here, Bernier wins here. Or, this could blow up in their face.
They both lose confidence.
They
and you
both
don't
lose
have a single
confidence.
goalie.
I think
But-
that happens.
But here's the thing.
I think that's more likely.
Here's the
to
thing I
happen.
like about this now is that Toronto's such a tough place to play in that maybe having two good goalies takes the pressure off one another.
It's only a tough place to play in for the Leafs. Everyone else is pretty easy. It's not like we have any
Yeah,
fan base
exactly.
Well,
at the
suits and sushi,
ACC.
But I think it's comforting, Bernier, knowing that, you have not comforting, but if you have a bad game, Reimer can come in, step up, and then that's criticism taken away from you, kind of.
No, but it doesn't take it away. It amplifies it.
Yeah.
Because you've now come out and you've been replaced. It's not like he's putting you back in the next game. He's like, you're our guy. You know what? You kind of shit the bed there, but you're going to get right back in there and show us that you're better than this.
But for both goalies, a bad game has been a .920 save percentage. So and that's where the tough part.
But earlier you're arguing the point that they can't maintain this shots against, and that
Yeah,
save
no,
percentage is going to come down.
Yeah, no
so
way.
you got to face that inevitability that you're obviously calling for, and I'm calling for.
For me, it's only a matter of time till we can name a starter. Because like Brian pointed last week, you can't rotate in the playoffs. Absolutely not. You can't rotate in the playoffs
To me, and
unless the Leafs redefine the goalie position in terms of having a 1-2 punch.
Is
You can't rotate in the
Jean-Francis
playoffs.
Allaire still their goalie coach?
no.
Thank God.
There's another guy who is just so blown out of proportion, like Ricard Wallin.
Listen, I've never met Jonathan Bernier, and I can't.
You've met Reimer?
No, but no. From what people see in Reimer, he's just that happy-go-lucky. He just loves
Mama's
life.
boy.
You could say that, yes, but Bernier looks like that type of guy who, if he doesn't get his way, he pouts and cries
what gives
and
you
the
bitches
impression
and
of that?
complains.
Eddie Belfour was that guy. Curtis Joseph was that guy. Were they happy-go-lucky, nice guys? When they lost, they got down. They were hardcore guys.
And so is Reimer.
You were just about to say it.
Yeah, everyone makes mistakes, but so is Reimer. But he's just nice. Like, it seems like, okay, he's done everything to finally get the #1 job in Toronto. gets screwed over. Bernier comes in, makes more money, gets the starting job of the first
You
night.
can't say that Bernier's been
I'm
or
not-
that
I'm not
Reimer's getting
saying-
screwed over. He's getting every chance to keep this job.
No one's saying that Bernier should be the number one. I'm just saying they need to establish a number one, and then
Well,
go
that's
with it.
I know as a well, I'm not gonna say human being. I know as a Leaf fan that it's gonna be Bernier. I don't want it to be Bernier. I don't agree with that whatsoever. But
But that's because Reimer's your favorite guy.
So we
Of course
don't.
he is.
We don't.
So that's a little bit of a bias, no?
Bernie Reimer. This discussion's not going to stop ever
No.
until we find out who the number one goalie is.
And that decision is going to come from Nonis, not Carlisle. I feel because Nonis is the one who signed him, so he's gonna jump over Carlisle to get through and say that's my guy.
Leafs Nation will have a little bit of say in it too.
You think so?
Yeah,
we have no say.
We've had no say for a long time.
I can't even really tell who the crowd likes better.
Which
Well,
one-
they like them both
well,
right
there's
now.
One
nobody,
game
nobody really.
Well, they're both
gets
winning.
up,
They're both
so-
winning. So
the one game they were chanting.
It's hard to hear
Bernier-
from the top.
stop eating
from
those
the-
that sushi suits.
It's tough to hear. It's tough to hear from the upper deck.
I remember the one game they were chanting Bernier. I think it was the second game in Toronto. The next game Reimer played, they're chanting his name.
Yeah.
So it's, you know what? They should split the games up. You know, give Reimer from the first period till the 10-minute mark in the second period, and then start Bernier for the rest of it. And rotate the next game.
Well, were we going to talk about our fellow Flyer friend today?
Jeez, I honestly, all I want to say about the Philadelphia Flyers is, especially after that game last week, it's
Just to give a little, he's been a Flyer fan has been chirping.
yeah, completely ripping on the Leafs, saying that Claude Giroux is going to captain Canada, and that the Flyers are the number one team in the league. Ray Emery's showing such grit and determination.
If Giroux captains Canada, then Paul Ranger should be on the second defensive pairing. Shout out to Paul Ranger for his goal against Calgary.
That was huge.
Huge.
Shit, I was gonna use him as my infamous
The
Leaf.
Power Ranger.
All right.
He's still on the Leafs. A little foreshadow in there from Preet, eh?
I figure if this podcast goes long enough, we'll mention him one day. So I thought I'd just throw it out here quick, get a head start.
Paul Ranger's first, probably last goal of the season.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well,
last
he has as many goals as Giroux does right now.
There you go.
That's
and I don't know
my point.
why Flyer fans are chirping Leaf fans. Look at the trades you guys have made.
If they kept all those players, again, we're getting off topic with the Leafs here, but if they kept all the players they traded away,
Oh my God.
they'd be insane. The Flyers don't have a model that they go to. It feels like the Holmgren's just wasted out of his mind all the time, and he just gets drunk one night, trades this guy away. Gets drunk the next night, trades this guy away. Like Burke did.
They have good talent, but I think they've made some decisions within that organization that really hurt that team. Carter and Richards being the biggest example. But this is a Leafs talk
Yeah.
show, but I just wanted to throw that out there because I hate getting chirped by.
We'll have more to say about that once the
Yeah.
Flyers, get back into last place. But
So should we get started with the infamous X Leafs?
I believe so.
right,
I think it's that time.
Who's up? Who's
I
going
first I
first?
want to give a shout out to a few of our guys on Twitter. One threw out, I think it was Anthony, threw it. Let me pull it up. Chad Kilger.
Chad
Hey,
Kilger.
that's a
Okay.
beauty.
Chad
That's a
Kilger.
beauty.
So that was awesome.
He's an infamous X Leaf that actually liked Chad Kilger. I like wicked shot on Chad Kilger.
Yeah, and we got Matt McKelvey with Aki Berg. That's his second week in a row now, bringing Aki Berg out. So
Of course, that should be every week for the rest of our lives.
Aki Berg, I mean, everyone knows who Aki Berg is because
real
everyone
Finnish
hated
Flash.
him. He was the Paul Ranger of
Just
that era.
Just before we name our infamous Leafs, I just want to go back to what Donardo and I were tweeting about last night. Pavel Bure's wife there. Wow.
Wow.
You missed that.
Which
right?
one's
missed that, yeah.
which one's the Russian rocket?
That was a question. Yeah.
I mean,
I'm gonna have to pull up a.
she was the rocket and she brought the guns. I'm telling you.
wow. Yeah.
that dress.
That dress.
Really?
That dress though.
Yeah.
How old are we talking here?
Pavel Bure's wife, however old he is, and
He's in his mid 40s now. I'm pretty
Probably.
sure. But anyway, yeah, that's.
Props.
Sorry, just-
props,
sorry.
Pavel Bure.
yeah. Sorry, we just had to toss that out there.
Yeah. Well, no, you have to throw
Yeah.
that out there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
good job, Pavel Bure.
my infamous Leaf this week is going to be Clark Wilm.
Oh,
It's just some background stats quickly. 0304 played 10 games, 0 points. 0506 played 60 games, 1 goal, 7 assists for 8 points from Central Butte, Saskatchewan, Canada. Is 37 years old right now.
Clark Wilm.
Just played over in overseas, retired in 2010. So Clark Wilm.
stud.
There you go, guys. Infamous X Leaf right there.
Yeah.
Clark Wilm. Preet.
All right, you guys are gonna put me on the spot here. I didn't get to do all my research and stuff, but if I had to toss one out there, I'm gonna go with the convict Mark Bell. Joined the Leafs as a hopeful power forward. Hopefully get on
Mark Bell.
any line really.
I remember him coming over. He was
Pretty much came over with that DUI in his back pocket.
Oh my God.
Convicted.
Mark Bell.
So I'm not sure what he's doing these days, but
The Michael Vick.
4 goals in 35 games as a Leaf.
there you go. Quick stats.
Good job,
over
Bell.
Here. So
If you look Mark Bell up too, the first thing that comes up is legal trouble.
yeah, so I'm gonna.
Oh my
gonna
God.
have to say he probably got a few more points in the longest yard or whatever version they have of the hockey with him heading that over.
Before I say my infamous X Leaf, I want everyone who's listening to get a computer or get their smartphones ready because you might have to dig a bit and remember who this guy really is because he only played during the 2003 and 2004 season. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Harold Druken.
What?
Who remembers Harold Druken?
I don't.
Played on the line with like Domi and Nathan Parrott.
He was a forward.
Brutal player. Career had 146 games, 27 goals, 36 assists, 63 points career. I mean, Kessel's already got that
This
year. Or like on the Western road trip. 4 assists with the Leafs. But Harold Druken, I think we signed him just as a rental player from Carolina to beef up our fourth line.
Probably played all season.
So I was fishing a bit there, but I laughed so hard when I remembered Harold Druken.
That's just the name.
Just the name.
Harold Druken.
Last week was Schwab. This week was Druken. So there's some solid. So what we're gonna do with all these Leafs? We're gonna come like make a
lineup.
make a roster.
For the Winter Classic.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
They're going to have a infamous
That's
X Leafs Winter Classic lineup.
alumni lineup
That's
there.
brilliant.
Yeah,
Beauty.
so right now we have Corey Schwab as our starting goalie.
Oh yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah, hey.
You know what? I don't know if I can toss a second one out there. I don't know when you guys can invite me back, but I just want to say that Glenn Healy deserves to be on that roster. If not for his performances in the Leafs, his performances between the benches now, absolutely pitiful. Just makes disgusting comments in
He
terms of.
hates the Leafs.
Well, obviously he played like shit for them.
Yeah.
He had a decent career with the Rangers. I know he picked up 20 wins a couple times. So
If it was a Glenn Healy start, it was an automatic loss.
off here, yeah. I mean, unless we got lucky and somehow
Yeah, but we
Mats
probably
won
won.
us the game or something.
Yeah, but even in a Glenn Healy start, there's no magic.
No, well, not from him.
No, yeah, not from
Unless
Glenn Healy.
unless it was a trick for how the puck got in the net.
Worst bucket in the league.
Yeah.
4 wins in 21
Yeah.
games in 97, 6 wins in 9 games in 98, and then 4 wins in 2000.
So why is he criticizing every Leafs goaltender that
he was brutal.
come through the reins in the past
Yeah.
couple years?
He's had a below 500 record every year he played with the Leafs, except for 6-3-0 in 98-99. But anyway, that's a great shout out to Glenn Healy.
Yeah, just
Appreciate
on the
that.
fast track, Pierre going following Pierre McGuire footsteps right there with his comments. So the sooner we can get him on NBC, the happier I'll be.
So we've almost approached 50 minutes. Didn't even feel like it.
Yeah.
Leafs are in action.
Friday.
Friday. I'm going to that game actually, sitting first bowl. Yeah,
Where's this?
Toronto against New
Beautiful.
Jersey.
Against New Jersey.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
so I'll be tweeting out picks again.
Right
from
on.
that. So it's New Jersey and then Boston Saturday night, and then we're off till Wednesday again.
Yeah, so sorry for a little technical difficulty there. Let's get back on track. Brian's going to be at the game against New Jersey this week. It's a good thing we have all this time off, though, because,
Start healing our guys. We have
all these injuries, we can heal the guy, we can heal our roster. So
a relatively easy schedule as well. We have Buffalo back to back next week, and then we play Buffalo again. We have Columbus in there, Minnesota, Jersey. We should be able to pull out at least a 500 record for November. So
I hope so.
Yeah, we'll discuss again next week. Only 2 games, New Jersey and Boston. So
All right, guys. Hope you liked our extended version of the show. I'm sure we enjoyed it. I liked having a bit more time.
yeah,
Thanks.
and a great input. With
Shout out to
Preet.
Preet.
Thanks for having me on the shot,
Great
guys.
job.
You can follow me at Singer SINGH3R. I'm on Twitter.
Yeah, give him a follow.
Yeah, I got Leafs mixing with a bunch of footy, so I'm a huge Chelsea fan. So beware before you.
Beware. So give us a follow, guys, at LeafsTalk30. We'll be tweeting to hear your infamous Leafs this week.
Yeah.
And we'll see you in a week's time. Take care.